Welcome to the Safe Money Retirement Show with certified financial fiduciary Tim Wood.
Let's sit down and make an actual plan, and we have definitely got to factor in that retirement danger zone. I wish to God someone had sat down and done that with my dad. We wish we would have known about these things.
Tim is a retirement and income planning expert, best-selling author, and the founder of SafeMoneyRetirement.com. Tim focuses on wealth management, retirement income, tax and long-term care planning, and so much more.
Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. You've got an 87% chance of success. Well, son, that's a 13% chance of failure.
And now, the Safe Money Retirement Show with Tim Wood.
And we welcome you into this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show. Alongside Tim Wood, he's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. My name's Kevin McAlpin. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And Tim and I certainly thank you so much for joining us once again here on the program. Coming up on today's show, Tim and I are going to give you some financial decisions that carry a deadline coming up in just a couple of weeks. Plus, we're going to tell you how Tim can help you make sense of all the variables you're going to encounter in the retirement planning process. And of course, we're going to bring you our safe money story of the week, that plus more. But first things first, we do say hello to my buddy and the star of the show, Mr. Tim Wood. And Tim, it is great to be with you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, my friend.
I did, man. It was fantastic, and it's hard to believe now we're, almost at Christmas. I mean, it's just hard to believe this year has flown by.
Yeah, really has. Do you guys host? Do you guys go elsewhere for the holidays? What's the holiday season, Thanksgiving look like in the Wood household?
It's changing a little bit because of my dad's dementia. So we're having to, in football terms, call an audible. Mm-hmm. Those that have read my book know I use that term a lot. Yeah. But typically we do just try to get together. But now that my dad's, really in the throes of Alzheimer's dementia, we're trying to accommodate that and be around for him and do things that, go to his place so he knows what's going on and make it easier for him.
Yeah. Holidays are all about family, and it's certainly a great opportunity to spend time with those you love, and hopefully those out there listening today will have a chance to do that here over the coming weeks. It is funny, you and I have talked about Thanksgiving and all that comes along with it, and man, I don't know, again, when you're a kid, there's the magic of Christmas, you're waiting for the presents, the anticipation of it all, but I gotta be honest with you, Tim, the older and older I get, man, I look forward to that Thanksgiving feast, and I guess more importantly, the adjusting of the belt that comes with it when I try to get comfortable and learn how to breathe a couple hours after I eat that dinner.
100%, man. That well, and again, it's because it's one of my addictions. It's not only the food, it's the football.
Yeah.
The football starts that Thursday and doesn't end, and as the women can attest that are listening to this, it's pretty much nonstop.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love it.
Yeah, it really is. Bowl season will be here before we know it. It's a very exciting time of the year. Also, it is the end of the calendar year, folks, and obviously I know a lot of those listening today, you're out doing that holiday shopping here with just a couple of weeks to go until Christmas. Now, Tim, the National Retail Federation says up to half of Americans put off that holiday shopping until the week leading up until Christmas. And get this, another 30% wait until the final few days. I'm raising my hand. I am guilty as charged. Thank you, Amazon, for the 2-day delivery. But in any case, Tim, the moral of the story is time is running out when it comes to your holiday shopping. And that's also the case when it comes to a number of financial moves that might carry end-of-year deadlines. So, Tim, if you could, rattle off some of those things our listeners need to be aware about, because December 31st, just a couple of weeks away now.
Well, first, and there are a few things, but first, man, don't wait till the last minute. Sometimes Amazon doesn't get it there in 2 days, even though they say they're going to.
Right.
Come on, man. But there's a few things. Number one, and this was something I definitely wanted to touch on this week. Listen, if y'all haven't already taken your RMDs, this is the time of year you've got to take your RMDs if you are at RMD age. So a lot of the companies will contact you if you haven't taken your RMD, but not everyone will. So it's on you. The onus is on you. You are the account holder. You are the policy holder, depending on the plan. It's on you. You've got to make sure if you have got money in an account that is in a pre-tax account, you've got to make sure you've got those RMDs done, and you need to have it done before December 31st to avoid a penalty. Now, the people that just turned 73 this year, you do have a couple of options. Technically, you can wait all the way till April 1st of next year to take the RMD, but that means you actually would be taking 2 RMDs next year. I don't recommend it. I recommend go ahead and take your RMD now. And what I tell most of my clients, and I've actually had clients sit there on their iPhone during a meeting and put it in their calendar, somewhere around Thanksgiving, put it on your calendar to repeat every single year, RMDs. So you don't forget it, because every year you've got to take out that required minimum distribution out of any accounts that you didn't have taxes already taken out on. So that's the biggest thing. A couple other things, Roth conversions. That's a huge topic right now. I was just a meeting I was literally just in a couple minutes ago. We were talking about Roth conversions because the tax rates are so low right now. And based on who comes in White House next, I mean, the rates maybe could stay lower or they could go up a lot. Depends on who's going to be there in 3 years and then who's going to be there in 7 years and all that kind of stuff. So if you're considering Roth conversions and you want to be able to lock into the current tax rates, this is the time to do it. A couple other things, charitable giving. A lot of people think about charitable giving, and you've got to lock in your charity donations before December 31st. There is no, you can't go till April. It's December the 31st. So if you're going to do anything, and that could even include qualified charitable distributions from an IRA. Doesn't matter how you're doing it. If you're doing any kind of charitable distributions, you got to have those done by December 31st. Those are really the big things. There's a couple other things where we could talk about maybe maxing out some contributions when we're looking at certain types of employer plans and some other things. But really, the RMDs, the Roth conversions, and the charitable giving, those are really the big 3 that you need to make sure that you've got taken care of by the end of the year. Again, I was just in an appointment and the gentleman had $1.3 million total in liquid assets. Well, that's pretty doggone good, but it was all still in pre-tax money. And I said, well, what's your tax rate? He said, oh, well, last year I was at, 22%. I said, okay, well, let me do the figuring then. Well, guess what? You don't have 1.3. And when I gave him the number, his jaw literally dropped.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? I said, well, 22% of that the government has. So you don't have 1.3. I don't remember the exact number. You've got 1.08 or whatever it was. That's all you've got. Oh, well, I didn't think of it that way. And that's how we started talking about the Roth conversions. Well, if this was all converted, then you would have 1.3.
Right.
And it's just, again, sitting down. This is a great time of year because our business has slowed down. Most people's lives have slowed, other than the holiday craziness. Most people's normal lives kind of slow down. This is a great time of year to sit down, to chat, to get a copy of my book, to read it, to really digest it, and let's make a plan moving into 2026 to try to get you set, better than you are now.
If you're looking for more details, time's running out in 2025. You want to get a jump on that year-end planning? Well, you better hurry. Got just a couple of weeks left in the calendar year, and if you'd like to learn more, you'd like to sit down with Tim Wood and the team at Safe Money Retirement. Folks, the number to get on his calendar right now, 800-913-SAFE. Again, it's 800-913-7233. Online anytime at safemoneyretirement.com. And folks, for our first 5 callers who schedule that initial conversation with Tim and his team, he's also going to throw in a complimentary copy of his book. It's entitled Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success. So if you want to have that conversation, you want to take a peek at his book, again, safemoneyretirement.com is the website, safemoneyretirement.com. So Tim, talk to the listeners out there today who might have been thinking about maxing out those retirement accounts, those contributions for the year. What are some of the options still on the table here with a couple of weeks left to go in the calendar year for them?
Well, again, you can make changes and you can make any contributions by December 31st will work for all plans. And it depends on the type of plan. For IRAs specifically, you actually have until April 15th of 2026. But if it's in an employer plan, a 501, a 401, TSPs, a lot of these other types of plans, you've got to have those maxed out and done whatever you're going to do by December 31st. So I just tell people, listen, just to be safe, if you're going to do anything, have it done by the end of this calendar year. That way there's no question, there's no confusion, there's no, well, what kind of plan is it? And can I do this or can I do that? You can do anything by December 31st. So if you want to max out contributions, if you haven't already, you can contact your company and say, hey, I want to go ahead and do an additional lump sum, figure out what the percentages would be to get you where you want to be. You absolutely can do that. But again, December 31st, everything's got to be processed by December 31st. So make sure you get things done in time to get everything done by December 31st.
Again, if you'd like to learn more, you want to get on Tim's calendar, you got a couple of weeks to go. I know the holidays are a crazy busy time of year, but let's be honest, no time like the present to start planning for your retirement. And again, if you want to learn more, safemoneyretirement.com. That is how you can reach Tim and his team. Again, it's safemoneyretirement.com.
It's now time for our Safe Money Story of the Week. Visit safemoneystories.com to view more.
Okay, for this week's Safe Money Story of the Week, I kind of want to piggyback off of what we were talking about, people waiting until the very last minute. And I want to talk about a lady that came in about 3 months ago, and you want to talk about waiting till the last minute. Her husband had been diagnosed with a terminal condition, and she did not know anything about what type of accounts they had. I mean, literally, she knew, well, we've got some accounts. Didn't know whether it was a 401, an IRA, a TSP, no clue about any, or even how much. I mean, she had a rough idea, didn't know anything about any of it. And unfortunately, he got progressively worse very quickly. And she wound up coming in to see me when he wasn't there because he was actually bedridden in the hospital. And she came to see me just bringing this literal stack of papers, walked in with this stack of papers and says, okay, well, I've got this from this account and I've got this from this account. Tears literally flowing down her face because of what we were having to do. And she had never dealt with any of that stuff. He did it for their entire lives. They'd been married 60 something years, and their entire lives he had always handled it. Well, now he couldn't. So we had to sit down, figure out on each individual account, what is this? What needs to happen? Have we done RMDs on it this year? Do you need to do RMDs based on what kind of money it is? We literally sat down. If I remember correctly, they had 7 different accounts. And she didn't know anything about any of them.
Wow.
So we had to sit down on each account and go through everything. What is this? And then we almost made like an Excel spreadsheet almost, and said, okay, well, you've got this 401k with this company and it's got this amount. Well, that's in pre-tax and we need to make sure we do RMD, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's everything for number 1. Now, number 2, number 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So basically then we transitioned that into what do we need to do for you? Okay, he's going to pass. Let's call him Bill. We know Bill's going to pass soon. I mean, he's already, he's not quite in hospice, but it's going that way. We know it's happening soon. What do we need for you? We'll call her Janice. Okay, what do we need for Janice? When Bill's gone, what do we need for you? And that's what we looked at. And what she needed was she wanted guaranteed lifetime income. She wanted to know she never had to mess with anything as far as income, because he was the one that was always, if we need a little bit more money, let's pull it out of this 401, or let's pull it out of this IRA, or let's pull it from over here. She didn't want to have to mess with that. She wanted to know it was just deposited in the bank every single month. So we did that. We moved the other plans that she had out of market risk and into plans where she could get good growth and withdraw from them if she ever wanted to, but with no fees and no chance of losses. Man, she left. She was a totally different person. She left with a smile on her face, literally gave me a bear hug when she left. Thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me, because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. Thank you for being a fiduciary and putting other people, putting people's needs before your own and all that kind of stuff. She left really happy, which obviously makes me really happy. And, she's going to be a client of ours for a very long time.
If you'd like to learn more, maybe you missed some of our previous Safe Money Stories of the week. You want to get caught up? Well, visit safemoneystories.com and you can get all the most recent Safe Money stories we've gone over. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find one that's very similar to a situation that you're going through as you get closer and closer to retirement. Better yet, if you are inching closer to that point in life, obviously that's not something you want to try to navigate on your own, folks. That's why Tim Wood and the team at Safe Money Retirement, they are here to help. You want to check some of those year-end items off your financial to-do list? 800-913-SAFE. Again, it's 800-913-7233 or online anytime. It's safemoneyretirement.com. That's safemoneyretirement.com. All right, we'll squeeze in a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We're just getting started on this week's edition of Safe Money Retirement Show with Tim Wood, and we're back right after this.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck. Do you still have all of your retirement money at risk in the market? Most know that I don't do that. It's way too dangerous, in my opinion, at least. The fact the market could fall off a cliff tomorrow, yet many don't have an expert you can trust. Let me tell you about Tim Wood. Now, he's the owner of Safe Money Retirement. That's a certified financial fiduciary and a best-selling author. I met Tim personally, and I can tell you that he and his team can help you plan your own guaranteed lifetime income streams to cover you and your spouse and grow your money while protecting it from a market crash. Go to safemoneyretirement.com/Beck or call 800-913-SAFE to schedule a no-obligation free 15-minute discovery call with Tim. You know I just don't trust anyone, and so do your own homework with Tim at safemoneyretirement.com/Beck and book your free discovery call with Tim online or call 800-913-SAFE and get started today.
Welcome back into this week's edition of the Safe Money Retirement Show. As always, we're here with Tim Wood. He's the founder, president, and certified financial fiduciary with Safe Money Retirement. My name's Kevin McAlpin, and Tim and I hope you're having a great day, and we thank you so much once again for joining us here on the show. Well, Tim, I know we like to have some fun. We talk about a lot of serious topics on this program, but you and I were just talking off air. We also enjoy the occasional comedic act as well. Nate Bargatze, one of the greats. Have you had a chance to catch any of his work over the last few years?
Absolutely. Yeah, love his stuff. Yeah, he's hilarious.
He really is. And I can relate to what he's going through right now because obviously he travels a lot. He's actually on tour as we speak. But Tim, when he's home, he's also helping his daughter with her homework. And even that has thrown him for a bit of a loop here lately when she brings out her new math. Take a listen.
If you don't know Common Core math, it's just basically a long way to get to the same answer. And even when you break it down, you see old math sneak in there. I mean, you're like, that was old math right there. Just do that at the beginning. I told my wife, it's a long way to get to the same thing. It would be if you came to my house and you knocked on the front door and you're like, can I come in? And I was like, could you walk around and come in through the back door? And you would be like, does the front door not work? And it's like, it works. It works fine. I use it. Most people still use it. But the new way is to go jump the fence, come in the back, and then meet me back here.
And I know a lot of our listeners, Tim, if you've ever tried to help a fifth grader with fifth grade math homework, I got to tell you, man, I don't know what they're teaching kids in school these days. It's not the math that you and I learned many years ago.
No, it is not. Yes, I've seen it, and it makes absolutely no sense. And exactly what Nate said. Yeah, because you always pretty much wind up going back to the original way to do math, because math is math. So, yeah, I'm sure someone that's smarter than us has some reason, but to me, it's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Someone smarter than us? Is that a thing?
Well, I try to be nice.
Tim, the reason I wanted to play that soundbite is those listening today probably feel the same about retirement planning, that it can feel very cumbersome when it comes to things like Social Security claiming strategies. We know there's hundreds of different ways to turn those benefits on. Also, those RMDs we talked about earlier in the show. So between taxes, inflation, longevity, Tim, how can you help our listeners make sense of everything out there when it comes to the retirement planning process?
Well, that was a great soundbite to play for this, because sometimes the new way isn't the best way. Sometimes the old way is still the best way. And again, y'all hear me say this every week. It comes down to, we need to sit down and look at your specific situation. Your specific situation is going to determine, when do you need to turn on Social Security? We're going to need to look at, what is your, how long did your brothers live, sisters live, uncles, aunts, parents, grandparents, all of that, versus how healthy are you, and let's figure out and let's come to a decision about when we're going to do that. As far as RMDs, are we going to want to just take RMDs forever, or do we want to do some Roth conversions so we can get rid of those RMDs? We've got to look, and just because what your plan was in the 90s or in, 2016, there may be a better way now. Or what you did before may be better. I don't know. It's going to be a matter of sitting down with each person individually, and good Lord, I sure wish that they would do that with, with school. If there's something that's not broken, why are we trying to fix it? And that's the same way with retirement planning. And some things that it's not broken, we don't need to fix it. There's clients that come to me all the time, and I say, that right there, perfect, leave it right there, don't change a thing. That is exactly 100% where you need to be on this. But then you've got this piece over here just dangling all at risk. So again, I hate to always come back to this every single week, but it's individualized for each individual person. We got to look at overall, and not just Social Security and not just RMDs, about everything. And let's make a plan, and let's figure out what's going to make the most sense for you specifically, for your long term. And these are long-term plans. That's the other thing I want to say, is we're looking at long-term stuff. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm in my 60s. I only need to plan for another 10 or 15 years. Brother, more and more people are living to 100 or more. And I was just reading something that they said that the first person to live to 130 is alive now.
Whew. That's a long ways away.
Yeah. And if you're retiring at 60, that's half your life.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do if you're just hoping that the market is going to pay you enough and you retire and you've still got half of your life left? Well, if you didn't get a guaranteed lifetime income plan that's going to pay you no matter how long you live, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Because a correction's coming. We don't know whether it's going to be next week, next month, next year, a decade from now. Everything that goes up comes down. We're in a big bubble. Every bubble in the history of humanity has burst. It's going to happen. Let's make sure your plan is correct moving forward for the long term.
If you'd like more details, maybe you're looking for help to sort and make sense of all the different variables that come along with retirement planning. Remember, we talk about it all the time on this show. Planning for your financial future, it's not a DIY project. That's why you want to utilize Tim Wood and the team at Safe Money Retirement. And folks, if you want to get on his calendar today, 800-913-SAFE. Again, folks, that number is 800-913-7233. And a friendly reminder, we mentioned it earlier in the show. First 5 callers from today's show, you schedule that complimentary conversation. Tim's going to throw in a complimentary copy of his book as well. It's called Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success. And again, if you'd like to pick up your copy, get on Tim's calendar today. You can always visit his website to learn more. It's safemoneyretirement.com. That's safemoneyretirement.com. So, Tim, you and I are big football guys. I spend as much time as I can watching football, more college this time of the year because bowl season is upon us. But in NFL, I'll sit down and take a peek at Red Zone, mostly to see how terrible my fantasy team is performing here this time of year. But Cam Newton, a guy, had a really good career. But, man, the reason I bring it up, though, I recently heard a soundbite from Cam, and he says one of his biggest money mistakes that pro athletes make often is failing to understand how their income is going to be taxed. And I know this is something a lot of our listeners can certainly understand as well.
See, the thing is, in one demographic, from a W-2 to a W-9, right, you're writing off what you spend. But people don't realize, as an athlete, you're a part of the 1%. So not only do you get state tax, Chicago, Illinois, you're getting federal tax. Every state that you play in, you get taxed with those states. So, boy, how do you spend to blow $30 million? taxes.
And I know a lot of our listeners, especially those, Tim, in retirement, they don't understand how they're going to be taxed in retirement as well. So let's talk about how you create that plan for a 20, 30, 40-year retirement that can help mitigate the taxes they're going to experience.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest, and that's actually literally on my business cards. If someone's got a copy of my business card, the very first thing on my business card is retirement tax planning. It's one of the biggest things I work with people on because, just like that client that I had earlier today, he thought he had $1.3 million. It was all in pre-tax. He didn't have $1.3 million. So I kind of got a list here. I'm just going to go through them real quick. First of all, people don't realize that depending on the situation, you can be taxed by taking Social Security too early. Mm-hmm. So it can be taxed up to 85% of it can be taxed. I'm not going to go into the weeds on that right now. That's, again, something we can discuss individually, but you want to make sure that you are in a situation where if you're going to be there and you know it's going to be taxed, okay, well, let's plan for that, but don't let it catch you off guard. Mm-hmm. So just make a plan for that. Interest-bearing accounts. So this could be CDs, this could be anything. Those are going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. But if you've got municipal funds, they are actually exempt from federal tax, so you would only have to pay your state tax in whatever state that you're in. Again, individual, case by case, we can sit down and look at everything, but make sure you don't overlook it. If you ever sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds, any of that kind of stuff, then you've got to worry about long-term gains. So long-term gains, which are things that have been held for over a year, are taxed at either 0, 15, or 20% based on income thresholds. So again, something you have to look at each individual thing, but know that when you sell stocks, if you bought that, you're going to have to worry about, it's what's called cost basis. So basically what it was when you bought it versus what it is when you sell it, that's what you're going to be liable for long-term capital gains. You got to make a plan for it. Got another client that I was just talking to her about that. She's got a huge account, multi-millions, but if she was to liquidate it all, she would have over $600,000 due in capital gains taxes. So we had to make a plan. Well, how can we convert this and get you out of that? And, it's going to take some years, but how do we do that? Okay, great. Another thing is dividends. Qualified dividends are taxed at long-term capital gain rates. Non-qualified dividends are taxed as ordinary income based on whatever your federal tax rate is right now. So again, we got to look at each individual thing and make sure that we're making the right decision for that. A couple others, traditional IRAs and 401ks. Contributions that you made to any of those did reduce your taxable income whenever you were investing in them, but withdrawals are taxed at ordinary income tax rates. So if you're at a 22% tax rate, everything you take out of that's going to be taxed at 22%. So you've got to make sure that you're prepared for that. RMDs start at age 73, or depending on what your age is, they could start at 75. You can look that up. I don't want to go down that route, but basically, make sure that you're ready. And anything that you withdraw before 59 and a half are going to be subject to an additional tax penalty. Mm-hmm. So just know that as well. Y'all heard me talk about that. Lastly, Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks, contributions aren't tax deductible. However, as long as the account's been open for 5 years, anything you ever withdraw from that's going to be tax-free. Roths are gold. I preach this to every single client. Roths are gold. The more we can get in Roths for you, the better. But again, we need to make sure we do it right, and you got to make sure you don't start withdrawing from it before 5 years. Now, this is getting into the weeds, but when you do withdraw from a Roth, it does come out in order. So it comes out in order of what you put in first and then growth. But again, let's not even play with that. Let's make sure it's been open for 5 years. And then lastly, the only last one is annuities. Annuities, basically, the portion representing the principal is tax-free. Again, cost basis, whatever you put in, that's going to be tax-free, but any growth over that is going to be taxable. Now, if you funded an annuity with a completely all pre-tax, then it's all going to be taxable. So again, it's going to be a matter of sitting down, making sure we've got a rock-solid plan for taxes so you really know what you've got in retirement and what you can expect to have to give to Uncle Sam.
If you'd like to learn more about taxes you can encounter and how you can put a plan together now that can help mitigate those taxes once you get into your retirement. Folks, keep this number handy. 800-913-SAFE. Again, it's 800-913-7233. Or online, you can always visit Tim and the team at safemoneyretirement.com. That's safemoneyretirement.com. So, Tim, time flies when we're having fun. It has certainly done that once again here today. And, sir, before we run out of time, I'd like to leave the floor all yours for the final word.
Thanks, Kevin. It was a great show. Thanks for everything. Listen, everything that we've discussed today kind of boils down to today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. So let's look at that. I mean, we first talked about waiting until the last minute for holiday shopping. And what do you need to do? Well, let's make a plan. Then we talked about the new math and waiting until kind of, what do we need to do as far as a plan? And is the old plan still good, or do we need to come up with a new plan? Again, let's sit down and let's talk about that. And then the last thing, when we were talking about Cam Newton taxes, my goodness, could you imagine being a football player and being taxed in every state that you play football in for these tons of money that they make? That's got to be a complete nightmare for a CPA. But let's make a plan. Whatever your situation is, sit down with someone that is a certified financial fiduciary, and I'll challenge anybody listening, do it this year. Do it right now. Do it in 2025. Let's make a plan. So even if we don't make any changes now, let's set the course going the right direction for 2026. We may not make plans and changes until 2026. Let's sit down and figure out what do we need to do to get you where you need to go so you can have your own safe money retirement.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Obviously, by contacting us now, you are only taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified, licensed insurance professional. It is important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Interest and other guarantees in annuity contracts are subject to the claims-paying ability of the insurance carrier that issued the contract. The tax consequences of annuity income should be considered with the help of a licensed tax professional. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.